All right, we're back with Senator Orrin Hatch here on the Steve Malzberg Show. The senator's been gracious enough to stick around with us here for another segment. And Senator, before we move on to your piece that you also wrote, we're ready to repeal and replace, and talk about your plan for replacing Obamacare. Back to Loretta Lynch and the Attorney General nomination, might you ask her, or might you want her to be asked about the IRS scandal, what she might do there, and and other issues, as you alluded to in the previous segment, that are of concern to you?
Well, there are so many issues that could be raised that the administration has engaged in. Not only that, but the IRS, the IRS scandal, the gun running scandal down on our borders, and why Attorney General Eric Holder has not chosen to defend any number of laws, most notably the law of the land on immigration. And the Obama administration, with the help of the Holder Justice Department, has treated the laws, or the law, as an irritant to be avoided, not rules to be followed for the good of the country. Our founding fathers envisioned our government as one run by laws and not men. So we need to make sure that Eric Holder's replacement understands the importance of upholding the law, which is why thorough and fair debate about his replacement, Loretta Lynch, is even more important. So this is a process that will take a little time, because we need to cover these and other issues, and there's no reason to rush the confirmation process in a lame duck session. I think she's going to be confirmed, but we ought to at least be able to do the investigations that are necessary to be able to determine if there are any limiting factors that ought to be brought forward.
And can you stall it if you wanted to through filibuster or any other procedure that that I'm not schooled enough to name to you? If you guys really wanted to stall it until the next session?
Well, there's some methodologies we can use, but since they broke the rules to change the rules, they just about can get anybody through they want to.
All right,
but I think it's important that newly elected senators, and there are, as I understand, there are 11 of them, who will actually work with the new Attorney General, be able to participate in the process.
Sure, absolutely. All right, let's talk about Obamacare.
Sure.
Just about every newly elected senator ran on repealing Obamacare. Mitch McConnell, I say Mitch McConnell played good cop and Boehner was bad cop in their speeches after the election, where Mitch McConnell kind of said, we can't repeal it. Boehner said, we will repeal it. Your piece at USA Today talks about we're ready to repeal and replace. What's the likelihood, and what's your plan?
Well, I think it's got to start in the House, and we ought to repeal and replace it. But and I think Republicans ought to at least be able to vote on how they think this is a terrible bill, and then the president's going to veto anything we do. At that point, then I think we'd have to really look at that bill and see what we can do to correct it and make it better than it is. Almost anything would make it better. It's a pathetic bill that really was brought forth in just a pure partisan way. Only Democrats voted for it. It's costing us an arm and a leg. It's going to rise to a point where we can't afford it, and at that point there'll be a lot of screaming and shouting about those who can't afford health care.
Absolutely.
Where if we took it the right way and did it the right way, we can resolve all of these problems. And I think it's incumbent upon us to at least try and do the best we can to get rid of it, but if not, to at least come up with a health care system that's far superior, far better, far less costly, and will do the job just as well, if not better.
Let me ask you, it looks like,
I tell you that.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It looks like Keystone is going to pass
it
because
does.
Mary Landrieu, they're going to name it the Mary Landrieu bill in the Senate. Talk about that. Is this politics at its worst, or what?
Well, they're trying to save Mary Landrieu in any way they can, even though they were the ones who wouldn't bring it up. They were the ones who wouldn't pass it. They were the ones who stuck it to Mary Landrieu, which shows the kind of force she has with the Democratic leadership over there. And frankly, now they want to do it because they're afraid they'll lose that seat. Well, they should lose that seat. In all honesty, I think if there had been that kind of leadership, it would have passed before now. So, but I commend anybody who is helping to get it through. But the House is going to pass it first, And the House has always been the one that wanted to get it done.
And they're going to name it for her opponent, by the way. Just in case you didn't know that. They're going to call, I forget his name right off the top of my head, but they're going to name the bill for him, just like the Senate's going to name it for her. But is the president going to sign it, though?
Well, I think he's going to have to sign it. My gosh, it means at least 20,000 jobs at a time when our country is maybe pulling out a little bit from the economy that we've had over the last 8 years, or 6 years, I guess I'd have to say, 6, 7 years. And frankly, there's no easy answer to these things, but I just wish the Democrats would quit playing politics.
Gotcha. Senator, great to talk to you, sir. Thank you so much for your patience and your generous time. Thank you.
You bet.
Senator Orrin Hatch, ladies and gentlemen. Congressman Steve King is next.